Employment contracts. This contract is to state the terms of your employment, also what the company expects you to do for them, and what they will do for you. This contract also states that you cannot compete against the company during development. Development contracts. There are 3 sections to this contract. The terms. This part of the contract is how much the publishers will pay the developer, in what amount of time the developer has to complete his work. Ownership. It's important to clarify that the publisher or the developers own the IP. Warranties. The company will swear they will not use another person's source code, and the company has a right to ask the developer afterwards. License agreements. If a publisher wants to make a game based on a movie, they will need to execute a contract spelling out the terms of the license. The contract may specify that the publisher only has the right to create a game and release it on the Xbox and PlayStation consoles. It specifies what parts of the world the game will be published in. There is an expiry date for this agreement, which is usually no more than 5 years. NDA and confidentiality agreements. 2 parties disclose a secret, like a plan to make a new game or a new technology. The other party agrees not to give information to the public. Collaboration agreements. This agreement covers the issues of ownership and compensation in the development of games that exist outside mainstream games industry. Most of the indie projects fail. A collaboration agreement, however, states clearly how the indie project will be controlled, who owns the IP, how the game will be used, and how the termination of the project will be handled. Here I will talk about legal issues. Intellectual property is split into 2 sections. Industrial property, which includes inventions, trademarks, industrial designs, and geographic indications of source, and copyright. Copyright is a legal way to protect a company's work. This prevents other people using this without permission. The length of the copyright protection will vary in different countries, however it usually lasts for as long as the company can bother keeping it renewed. There were many incidents in which copyrights were ignored and games were used basically. One case would be the lawsuit filed against Zynga for making games similar to the Sims franchise on Facebook. This still persisted as Zynga fought back and said that they did not copy EA, and stated they launched their Yeovil People Simulation game long before EA debuted its Sims franchise on Facebook. Trademark is a sign used by business organizations and individuals, and it indicates the products bought appear from a unique source. It sets the company's projects apart from the others. Things that are trademarked are usually a name, logo, phrase, and more. A patent is an exclusive right granted to anyone who invents something new or useful. There is an application that needs to be done before someone steals or comes up with the idea or design first. This is a form of intellectual property and grants the inventor or assignee for a limited period of time exclusive rights. One incident of a patent infringement would be Capcom trying to sue Koei Tecmo for carrying content from one game to the next, and the controller vibrating when an enemy is nearby. $9.43 million in damages are attempted to be claimed from Koei by Capcom, which is 10% of the profits Koei Tecmo make. I believe Capcom are very desperate for money, as they are trying to claim a lot of money, and I'm not surprised after the stupidity of releasing the same Street Fighter game over and over again. Also, I believe the company is falling apart due to them westernizing games, which in return failed in firing their top developers. A registered design is a right to keep the appearance of a product and protect it from being basically copied by another person or company. Registering a design with the Intellectual Property Office provides you with extra legal protection. The requirements for registering your design is that the products have to be new, have individual character, not be offensive, and not make use of unpermitted use of certain protected flags. Ethical issues in gaming. Many ethical issues have been raised since gaming became extremely popular, such as violence, rating, education, stereotyping, and addiction. Violence. Violence in video games is one of the biggest issues, as many believe violent video games influence some players to do things they will regret. One example would be Call of Duty, an incident in which a boy kills his mother for taking Call of Duty away from him was raised in court. However, his friend who played online with him stated that his behaviour had a rapid change while playing Call of Duty. Also, China banned the game in their country for 13 years due to it containing violence, killing, murder, terrorism, and use of firearms, and much more. I believe China had a good reason to ban the game. However, the boy can't just blame the game when it was him who carried out the gruesome feat. I feel that the child should be punished for carrying this out. Ratings. Ratings in video games these days don't really matter, as video games are bought by adults and then given to their children as gifts. I believe this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, as the ratings are there for a reason. However, nothing can be done about this. The first case involving ratings was the case of Mortal Kombat's extreme amounts of violence and gore. The age rating on games was created due to it. For me, I personally dislike Mortal Kombat because of this. However, it was probably going to happen anyway. Education. Some games can be solely for education. However, some can be for entertainment and education. Games like Math Blaster, which is aimed at young ages. Stereotyping. The video game industry usually promotes stereotyping, like GTA, which portrays Franklin to be a criminal, and other games which make women seem really weak to make the main character look stronger. Addiction. Spending lots of time in a game usually drops to addiction. Sometimes this can be a good thing, mostly for the creators. However, it can also be a bad thing. It can cause players to be really secluded. Also, it can make players spend horrendous amounts of time and money on content for the game. I know a friend that has emptied his bank account many times to spend money on League of Legends. Professional bodies. ELSPA changed their name in March 2010. They rate computer games released in Britain that were exempt from legal classification and was established on September 6, 1989. They are now known as UKIE. IGDA, Global Network of Collaborative Projects and Communities, and their job is to advance the careers of game developers. Women in games. Their goal is to give a voice to women and men in the games industry. They also provide networking opportunities for women and men in games industry. BAFTA, established in 1947, and it rewards and celebrates excellence at its internationally renowned annual awards ceremonies. MEF, established in 2000, they are a global trade association for companies wishing to monetize their products and services via mobile.